Modern air conditioners are a terrible idea. And here's the 50 times cheaper alternative nobody talks about. Persians built it 2000 years ago from mud and clay. It still cools interiors to 60 degrees today. No motor, no freon, no monthly bill. And the HVAC industry hopes you never learn its name. When was the last time you opened your July electricity bill and didn't feel completely sick inside? $400? $500? In some states, closer to $700. And what are you paying for? A loud metal box outside your window, slowly leaking toxic refrigerant into the atmosphere every single day. A compressor that dies in 8 years. A power grid that fails the exact moment you need it most. We have accepted this as normal. A heat wave hits 115 degrees. The grid browns out. Millions of people sit in the dark sweating. We call it progress. We call it modern living. We pay thousands of dollars every year just to make our own homes survivable in the summer heat. Think about how absurd that is. Your house, the place you spent half your life, needs constant electricity. An intravenous drip of power just to keep you alive when summer temperatures climb above 100 degrees. Cut the cord for 48 hours in Phoenix and people start dying. That is not sophisticated civilization, that is a fragile one. And here is the part the air conditioning industry will never advertise. Every modern air conditioner is fighting physics. It shoves heat uphill against the natural gradient, burning kilowatts. It is the most expensive, most fragile, most polluting way to solve a problem we already solved. Humans figured this out 24 centuries ago with nothing but mud bricks and a hole in the roof. If low-tech solutions interest you, subscribe. Next video we dig into ancient water systems that still work.
But one desert city solved this problem back in 400 BC, and almost nobody talks about it. Picture a place where the summer sun pushes the thermometer to 55 degrees Celsius, 131 Fahrenheit. The ground bakes, the air shimmers, birds drop out of the sky. Nothing should survive this brutal heat. Yet, inside the homes of this city, the temperature reads a steady 18 Celsius, 64 degrees Fahrenheit, cool enough to need a light blanket at midday. This place is real, and it is called Yazd, Iran. UNESCO declared its old quarter a World Heritage Site because almost nothing about it has changed in 2000 years. The streets are narrow, the walls are thick, and from every rooftop rise tall hollow towers open to the sky. Locals call it a badgir.
The literal translation is wind catcher. In English, we have almost no word for it, because we forgot this technology existed. Architects don't study it, builders don't reference it, engineering schools skip it entirely. A 2000-year-old climate machine sitting in plain sight, completely ignored. So why aren't we using it today?
The physics behind it is almost embarrassingly simple. Here is what is actually happening inside that tall tower. Hot air rises. You learned that in middle school. The badger doesn't invent new physics, it just respects it. The tower stands 8 to 15 meters above the roofline, where the wind is faster and cooler than ground level. The tower catches it, funneling that breeze straight down into rooms below as free natural cooling. Inside, the tower is divided into vertical shafts, sometimes 4, sometimes 8, separated by thick adobe walls. Adobe has enormous thermal mass. The captured wind drops down the shaft, hits cool walls, gets cooler. By the time it reaches the room below, it has shed several degrees just from contact alone. But the real trick is at the bottom. Beneath many traditional Persian homes runs an ancient qanat. A qanat is an underground water channel, hand-dug for kilometers, bringing mountain water to the city by gravity. The badger shaft connects directly to the qanat tunnel. Incoming air passes over the running cold water. Evaporation pulls it out of the air, like sweat cools your skin, but at massive industrial scale. Air temperature drops another 15 to 20 degrees Celsius
in a single underground pass through this system. Now you have a column of cold, damp, dense air moving through the house at ground level. As it warms from bodies and cooking fires inside, it rises. The badgir acts as a chimney. Hot air shoots up and out the top. This is the stack effect, like a fireplace flue. So you have an intake, a heat exchanger, an evaporative cooler, and an exhaust. 4 crucial functions: 0 moving parts, 0 electricity, 0 refrigerant, 0 compressor. It cannot break because nothing inside can break. For centuries, this is just how desert cities worked. Yazd, Kashan, Dubai's Old Town, Hyderabad in Pakistan, even parts of Egypt. Every hot, dry civilization independently invented their own version of this brilliant system. They knew something profound we have completely forgotten: a low-tech solution cooling homes for thousands of years. But here is where modern engineers got it embarrassingly wrong, throwing away 4,000 years of brilliant desert wisdom. Early 20th century, American engineer Willis Carrier invented mechanical air conditioning to fix a printing press humidity problem. Then we did something stupid. We used that one industrial tool to replace 4,000 years of architectural wisdom. We started building houses from poured concrete that traps heat, and we sealed every single window shut. We covered roofs in black asphalt that absorbs sun, ignoring the prevailing wind that cooled homes for centuries. We built glass towers in Dubai and Phoenix that act like giant solar ovens, baking everyone inside them. Then we bolted 40-ton chillers onto them, fighting the very heat we engineered into the buildings ourselves. Modern architecture fights the climate. The badgir works with it. One is a brutal brawl, the other a dance. And the industry simply cannot sell you a dance. No quarterly revenue exists in mud towers lasting 7 centuries. No service contract on a hole in the wall. No patent on physics. So the technology was quietly buried. Buried under massive marketing budgets, pushing refrigerant-based systems that conveniently need full replacement every single decade or so. We literally engineered the wisdom right out of our own homes. Wait until you see the temperature numbers. Measured data from Yazd badgirs, recorded by Iranian and German research teams over 20 years, is absolutely staggering. On a day when outdoor temperatures hit 50 degrees Celsius, indoor temperatures sit between 18 and 23 Celsius. That is a drop of 27 to 32 degrees Celsius, achieved with 0 electricity and 0 moving parts. In Fahrenheit, a 122 degree outside paired with a 64 to 73 degree indoor reading. 60 degrees Fahrenheit inside a desert house. No electricity. The title promise is not marketing. It is measured. Now compare the energy bill.
A typical Arizona 3-bedroom house burns 3 to 4,000 kilowatt-hours per cooling season. At national average rates, that's $600 in a single summer for one house for cooling alone. Multiply by 20 years, $12,000 on electricity alone. Add 2 compressor replacements at $3,000 each, plus refrigerant top-ups, plus annual maintenance. A typical AC life cycle costs north of $2,400 per year. The badgir? 0 kilowatt-hours. The oldest working badgir in Yazd is over 700 years old. 7 centuries. Still functioning, still cooling, still costing nothing to run. There is no replacement cycle because nothing wears out. The clay does not break down. The wind does not run out. The water in the qanat keeps flowing. The annual operating cost averaged over its lifespan rounds to 0. Not low, 0. That changes everything. Every dollar your air conditioner cost was, on a long enough timescale, a dollar you didn't need to spend. And someone in Arizona just rebuilt one, and it actually works in the modern desert. This is not ancient history, not a museum piece. In 2010, a planned city called Masdar opened. Masdar sits in the United Arab Emirates, designed from the ground up to test zero-carbon urban living.
At the center of its main public plaza, the architects built a towering 45-meter modern badgir. A modern, fully engineered, full-scale wind tower stands quietly in the middle of the Arabian desert. And it actually works. Outdoor temperatures in that open plaza routinely hit a brutal 45 degrees Celsius under the blazing midday sun. The shaded space directly beneath the tower, in fully open air, measures a full 10 degrees Celsius cooler. People sit there comfortably in the afternoon. Children play there. The tower uses one tiny solar panel to do this.
That panel only powers a sensor opening and closing top vents based on wind direction. One small panel. Engineers from Cambridge to Tehran have already replicated the principle in laboratory conditions and confirmed every single claim made. Architects in Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Texas, and New Mexico are quietly building modern versions into hotels and schools.
The numbers always come back exactly the same. Massive cooling, zero or near zero energy input required, every single time. And here is the part that should genuinely make you sit up straight right now in your chair. You can actually build a fully scaled-down working version in your own suburban backyard for under $800. The materials list is almost insultingly cheap. You need standard brick or adobe block for the tower body. You need a long length of clay or terracotta pipe to run straight down the central tower shaft. You need a small basin at the base from any garden center, kept constantly filled with cool water. You need a simple wooden or metal cap on top, angled to catch your prevailing afternoon wind. Now the build sequence. Pick a corner of your yard where the wind hits hardest in the afternoon. Pour a small concrete pad. Stack the bricks into a hollow tower, 3 to 5 meters tall total. Leave one open face at the very top, oriented into the wind.
Run the clay pipe down the center. At the very base, build a small chamber over the water basin to cool the incoming air dramatically. Connect that cool chamber by a short metal duct into your house through any window or wall opening. Add a second vent on the opposite side of your house to let trapped hot air freely escape. That is the entire build. A competent weekend builder finishes it in 3 days. Materials under $800. Cooling capacity for a single room equals roughly a 1-ton air conditioner. Forever. The savings number will shock you. Run the math honestly. 20 years of central air conditioning in a hot climate, including electricity and maintenance. Add compressor replacement, refrigerant, and inflation. Total $48,000 over 20 years for a typical American household. 20 years of a properly built badgir. Initial build, $800, DIY, $8,000 professional, operating cost $0, maintenance, occasionally refilling the water basin and brushing dust off the intake. Total 20-year cost under $10,000, net savings $40,000 to $47,000 per house. The system pays for itself in 8 months. 8 months. After that, every summer is free cooling for life. Free energy, free comfort, free, like the wind. It also raises your property value. In hot climates, passive cooling features are marketed as premium amenities now. Realtors in Tucson and Las Vegas list passive cooling as a selling point. The badgir is an asset. Environmentally, this is almost an afterthought. 0 carbon emissions. 0 refrigerant leaks, 0 hydrofluorocarbons poisoning our fragile atmosphere, 0 contribution to urban heat island because you aren't pumping waste heat into the street. Your neighbors actually benefit.
The title promise: 60 degrees Fahrenheit without electricity. Measured, documented, replicated. Confirmed in Yazd, Masdar, 3 continents. It works. It has always worked. It will keep working long after every air conditioner has rusted into scrap. So why isn't every desert home using this ancient solution? Follow the money. The answer is genuinely uncomfortable.
The global HVAC industry is worth roughly $240 billion annually.
That number doesn't protect itself accidentally. American building codes assume mechanical cooling will be installed. Municipalities literally require HVAC systems before issuing any occupancy permit. In parts of Arizona, you cannot legally move into a new house without a working air conditioner already installed. There are no patents on 2,000-year-old technology, no licensing fees, no company can corner the market on physics, no advertising, no lobbyists, no glossy trade show booths. The badger cannot defend itself in a marketplace that only hears money. Architecture schools spend years teaching glass curtain walls and steel, while vernacular traditional regional building is treated as a quaint optional elective. Most architects graduate without ever drawing a wind tower. They've been quietly trained to ignore 4,000 years of pre-AC cooling wisdom. This isn't a dramatic conspiracy. Nobody's hiding the badger. UNESCO listings are public. Research papers are free. But the whole industry quietly assumes you'll keep paying. Every architect, builder, code inspector, utility company benefits from that assumption staying intact. The wisdom isn't lost. It's just deeply unprofitable to share widely. And that is exactly the kind of low-tech solution the industry doesn't want you to know about. But there's an even crazier Persian invention coming. The same culture that built the badger, same engineers, same desert, also figured out how to make ice. In summer, without electricity. They called it the Yazd, a giant clay dome producing ice for royal courts for thousands of years using only nighttime radiative cooling and qanat water. Next video will break it down, including how to build a backyard version under $200, a working freezer that runs on starlight. But first, here is what I want you to do. If low-tech solutions interest you, hit subscribe right now. We are building an entire series on the forgotten engineering that the modern industry quietly buried away. Simple but powerful systems that pay for themselves and last for centuries. Free cooling, free water, free heat, the stuff your grandparents knew and the marketing departments hope you never rediscover or talk about openly. Share this with anyone building a house, planning a renovation, or staring at a brutal summer electricity bill. They deserve to know there is another way, a way that worked for 2,000 years straight, a way that still works today, a way the wind itself quietly pays for century after century. And stick around for the Yazd, ice made in the desert. No electricity. It sounds completely impossible. It is not. Once you see how